Alright, so in this video we're going to be working on a project where the goal of the project is the following problem. So if you have a number of different gift cards from different stores and you want to keep track of all of the balances that you have on every one of the gift cards. So maybe Christmas time rolls around and you get all these gift cards and you want to keep track of how much money you have across each of the gift cards. So one solution is you can go to each website, you can pop in the card information and you can extract the balance, and you can do that for every single card that you have. But if you have a lot of different cards, it can be a little cumbersome to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a program that will automatically go to a website, scrape the information given whatever card we're looking at, extract the balance, which is what we care about, and then just aggregate all that information into one place. So we can just run a program, hit a button, and then get all of the information in front of us. So it's a bit of a toy project. It's a bit of something for fun, and there's probably websites out there that do this at a larger scale, better. So keep that in mind. But this is really just a toy project to get some experience with web scraping, and also just for something for fun that might be practical for you. So I'm actually going to run the program just so you can get a sense of what it's going to accomplish. So I'm running this program here, and what we're going to see is we're going to see a timestamp and the name of a company or the provider of the gift card, and then the balance. So there's this provider, which is Github, 328, Starbucks, a whopping balance of 398. Terrific. So one caveat of this video is if you don't have a Starbucks gift card, you won't be able to follow along exactly. You can still step through the way in which I'm extracting this information, and it will most likely be broadly applicable to any other company that has sort of a gift card system, in the sense that we'll be putting in an email, a password, or a gift card number, and then we'll be extracting some information that we care about. So if you do have a gift card from Starbucks, you can follow along one-to-one. The correspondence will be exactly the same. If you don't, you can use many of the same techniques in a way that will be hopefully applicable broadly to other gift card providers. And on that note, I will provide a link in the description of this video to the following GitHub link here, which is where I'm hosting the code for this project. Right now, there's only functionality for Starbucks and Github, as we saw from the example run of this program. But by all means, if you happen to download this, give it a fork, and add in functionality for Best Buy or any other store that you happen to have a gift card for, and feel free to contribute it to this project. So again, this is just kind of for fun. I think the more examples that are present, the better it is for the whole community as a whole, for people trying to learn this stuff. Okay, so let's get right into it then. All right, so I'm going to go to a directory that I have on my desktop called Couch Money, which I guess is sort of a descriptive name of the project that we're doing here. You search for money in your couch when you're looking for loose change, and this is kind of a similar thing. You're looking to see what idle balances do you have on your gift cards. So anyway, the name is not important. You can call it whatever you want. Anyway, so we have a directory here that we're going to be storing all the files that we're going to be making use of in this video in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file called config.py. And this file is going to be kind of our configuration file, which is going to store all of our user credentials for whatever gift cards we have on hand. So I mentioned that I'm going to be using the Starbucks gift card. This is going to be, again, a little bit different depending on whatever business you are doing this for. For Starbucks, the relevant information is a card number, which is found on your gift card, and also a PIN number, which is also found on your gift card. So it might be different. For instance, Best Buy might have a username and a password or something else. So this is going to be relevant to the specific institution that you're trying to extract the information from. So I'm going to put in here Starbucks credentials, and then I'm going to say Starbucks card number is equal to some string. I'm not going to put in the string for obvious reasons. Starbucks card PIN is equal to some string. So again, if you are doing this with a Starbucks gift card, you would put in your own card number and PIN number into these string locations, and then what we're going to do is we're going to read from this configuration file into the main brain of the program. So as you add more institutions for your gift cards, you can add in more credentials in this file. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to save and quit out of that then. That's all we need. So I'm going to assume that you've gone ahead and entered in whatever relevant information into that configuration file that you need, because we're going to be making use of that to log into our, in this case, Starbucks gift card. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the brain of the program. So let's just call that couchmoney.py. And I should also mention that we're going to be making use of the Robobrowser Python library. I will be leaving a link in the description of this video to the Robobrowser library and also to other videos on this channel that go over how to install it if you don't have it installed on your machine. So I'm going to, at this point, assume that you have Robobrowser installed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to import Robobrowser in this file. So from Robobrowser, import Robobrowser. And I'm also going to import a few other things that are going to be useful to us in this project. So first I'm going to import datetime and also time. So these things, not timeout, time. So these things are going to be useful to us if we want to display the timestamp information. So when you extract the balance, maybe you also want to figure out when that balance was extracted and you want to store that information somewhere for your own records. That's going to allow us to do that. Let's also import config, which is the file that we just created that has the credentials that we're going to be making use of for extracting the gift card information. Let's also import RE, which is the regular expression library, and this is going to be helpful for parsing through some HTML that we may encounter on our journey to extracting the balance from our gift card. So that's all we're going to be importing at this time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a function which is just going to prepare a browser and then return that browser object to us so we can make use of it for extracting the information that we want. So I'm going to write a function called prepare browser. And in this thing, I'm going to create a browser object. So I'm going to say br is equal to robobrowser. And in the parentheses, I'm going to say parser is equal to html.parser. So I'm explicitly mentioning what parser I want to use. This line here really just suppresses a warning. If you don't put this in here, you'll get a warning from Beautiful Soup, which is what Robobrowser makes use of. So by putting in this parser, explicitly mentioning to Robobrowser, hey, I'm using this parser, you're going to avoid getting that warning. If you don't put it in there, it's not the end of the world. Just expect a Beautiful Soup warning. And then I'm just going to return br, which is the browser object that we created. Okay, so we have the browser, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a function which is going to essentially check the balance of whatever institution we have functionality for. So I'm going to call this check all balances, and this is going to take a browser object, which is what will be returned from the function that we just wrote above. And then I'm going to say print get Starbucks balance, and I'm going to pass it br and also the configuration information that we stored in the config.py file. So we imported config, so I'm going to say config.starbucks card number and also config.starbucks PIN number. So we haven't written this function yet, but we're going to go ahead and put in the logic of this function and this print statement. We're essentially going to run this check all balances function, which is kind of going to be our main function in this program, and that's going to display the timestamp, balance information, whatever else we care about. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that function get Starbucks balance. So I'm going to go ahead and write get Starbucks balance. And this is going to take three things. It's going to take the browser object that we're using to navigate to the website. And it's going to take, let's call it a username and password. Generally, all of the functions of this form, get Starbucks balance, get Best Buy balance, get whatever balance, is going to take the browser, which is the browser that we're using to get there, and then a username, in this case the card number, and a password, in this case the card PIN. So as we go along, hopefully that will become a little bit more clear. You'll see a bit of a pattern here. So in this function, we're going to want to do is we're going to want to navigate to the website. It's going to allow us to check our balance. So I'm going to say br.open, and I'm going to say https www.starbucks.ca, in this case because I'm in Canada currently, and /card. So if we go to this website, we are presented with this website here, which allows us to check the balance of our card. If you look at this form down here, it says check balance. We can put in our card number, we can put in the security code, and once we do that, we can hit this check balance button, and that will give us the balance that we're after. So in this case, so far what we have is we have a function that goes, opens the web page, and now we need to interact with that form that we just saw. So let's actually take a look at the source. So if I right click and I say inspect, we can get a sense of what this form looks like and what information we'll need to interface with for us to put in information into this form. So here I see that this, if I move up here, let's see, so this form, the ID of this form is called check balance. So that will be useful information for us. And we're also going to want to figure out what the IDs of the card number field are, and also the security code, or in this case, the PIN number code are, so we can put in our information into those fields. So if we go down here, we see that this card number, the ID of the card number, let's see, so if we expand that out, let's see, we have ID is equal to card underscore number, the name is equal to card dot number. So we can extract, or we can enter into this field by ID, by name, you know, since they're both specified, it doesn't really matter what we choose as long as we choose something that is descriptive of the fields in this form here. And then likewise, we can see the card PIN, again, the ID, the name, card.pin. So what we're going to be doing is making use of that information to put in our configuration information that we wrote in. So if we do this, by the way, if we put in a card number and a security code and we write in check balance, if I go to this other tab, we see that the result of that is this page here. So first what we want to do is enter in the information into these fields, then we'll get into how we actually extract this balance information, which is what we're after. So let's start off with this first. So let's go back to our terminal. And what we want to do is we want to manipulate the form. So let's define a variable called form. And let's say this form variable is equal to br.getForm, and we want to specify the form that we want to get is the one with ID check balance. So we've specified that form, and now what we want to do is manipulate the fields in the form. So what I'm going to do is say form of card.number is equal to the username, and likewise form of card.pin is equal to the password. And again, just to review why that's happening, the card.number is the name of this field, and card.pin is the name of this field here. So we have attached onto those fields, and we're essentially saying, okay, in those forms, put in the username that we're passing in the function and put in the password that we're passing into the function. And that will populate those fields with the respective information that we passed into that function. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say br.submit form. And we're going to submit the form that we defined up here on line 2, respective line 2, relative line 2. Okay, so that essentially, what that's going to do is that's going to put in the information and then click this check balance button. And that's going to give us this page right here that displays our balance. So let me go back here. So what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to extract that, that number, the amount of money that we have on this gift card. So let's actually take a look at the source here so we can figure out how to do that. Right, so if I do that, what I see here is this is the relevant piece of information that we want to extract. I'm going to expand this here. I'm going to expand this, just kind of taking a look at what we have. I'm going to try and click on this number, which is what I care about, and inspect that. that pops open this. I see that the number is actually in plain HTML here, which is 398. That's exactly the balance that we have on this page. So this is the thing that I want to extract from the web page. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in, check the balance, be presented with this form, and then I want to find where this line is in the HTML that should be returned back to me, extract the number, the value between these tags, and then store that as the information that I want to keep. So this balance is between two tags, span class fetch balance equals something, and then a closing span tag. So let's use some regular expressions to help us out to extract this here. So let me go back to our code. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say source is equal to string of browser.parsed. So what is this doing? This is giving us the source of the web page. It's essentially downloading the entire HTML source of the page that we're currently on, which again is this page with the balance displayed, and it's storing it into that source variable. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to define two start and end variables, and I'm going to search in between those things using a regular expression search. So I'm going to say start is equal to this tag. So we saw that the first tag that preceded the balance was h2 span class equal to fetch balance value. And then the end tag is equal to this ending span tag here. So just to refresh, if I go back here, indeed this first part preceding the balance is this thing, and the part right after it is this span. Give me the content in between those tags is what I'm going to be trying to do here. So we've got the start and end delimiters, I guess you could say, and then I'm going to say result is equal to re.search. And what I want to do is I'm going to put something fairly cryptic in here, but the overall outcome of what's happening is pretty easy to understand. I'm going to say %s, open parenthesis, period, asterisk, close parenthesis, %s. So what this is doing is this is saying, give me anything between the string s on this side on the left and then s on this side on the right. And what are those strings that we want to actually delimit between? Well, it's start and end. And then I'm going to, the string that I'm looking through this for is the source, which we stored into a variable. And then I'm just going to say .group1, which not really totally necessary to understand what's happening there, but really that's just kind of giving us what's in between that thing that we've just extracted. So that's now stored in a result. So if I print out result, that's going to give us the balance. So now maybe what we want to do is we want to extract the timing information. So this is going to give us the time that we extracted the balance. So let's do that. So I'm going to say, let's say ts is equal to time.time. And then I'm going to say string date is equal to datetime.datetime from timestamp ts dot string ftime. And then basically this is just going to format the timestamp. So basically how I'm going to do it is year, month, day, and then also I want to know the hour, the minute, and the second as well. So that's going to give us what is the year, what is the month, what is the day that we extracted this information, and also what's the hour, month, and hour, minute, and second. And then I'm going to say result is equal to date. This is just kind of formatting how we saw on the example. So I'm just going to say this is the date that we extracted it. So plus string date, which is what we defined up above. And then let's give it also, this is for Starbucks, so we'll say Starbucks balance. And then we'll put in here the actual balance. So we'll say this dot format result, which again, result, if you look up here, is what we extracted from the regular expression from the source, and that will be the balance that we're after. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to return result. So with any luck, if I didn't make some horrible mistake, which I probably did, this should give us the result that we're after. So let's go ahead and run this. All right, so in order to run this, what we're going to do is we're first going to create the browser object, not bro. BR is equal to prepare browser. It's going to give us the browser that we're going to use to navigate to the Starbucks webpage in this case. So I'm going to say print get Starbucks balance, and then in this we're going to put in the browser and also the username, which in this case is the Starbucks card number, and the Starbucks PIN number. So that should give us what we want. I'm going to write that, and then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit out of here and then go ahead and give this a run. So I'm going to say Python couch money, print this out. Hopefully we'll get the balance. We do. By the way, I did pause the video to go ahead and put in my card number credentials so that way it actually did get this balance. But there we go. If you do put in the credentials yourself, you will also see the balance hopefully retrieved. A few caveats at the end here. Websites are going to change, so this video, by the time you watch it, may also be different. So the way in which I'm extracting this information for card numbers and PIN numbers and these sorts of things, this may be different for you depending on the time that you watch the video. If you watch it relatively recently within the upload date of this video, you will probably have no issues with compatibility. The code should work one-to-one. As websites change, that may change, however. Likewise, if you are going to be trying to do this for another business or another place you have a gift card at, you obviously won't be able to make use of this one-to-one, but hopefully the techniques that you've seen in this video will be useful broadly for you to apply the same techniques. And if you want, go ahead and feel free to fork the project that I will leave a link to in the description and add in the functionality for whatever site that you have. So thanks again for watching. If you have any suggestions, comments, or anything else, or any problems running the code, please let me know. I will try to respond to help as soon as I can. Thanks again and have a great day.